Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 301. Here comes the sunburst. Here comes the sunburst. It's all right. This is for Friday, May 3rd, 2024. And from Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
I've been working on my vocals. Really have.
I can tell.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. Yeah. Almost brought a tear to my eye.
I know. I've just a little tribute to George Harrison there. Someone's got to do it. Might as well be me. I don't know. Did you have a good week so far, Tyler?
So far, so good. Looking forward to hopefully nice weather this weekend. Get back outside. It's been a long winter here in Colorado.
Yeah, we are heading into the 90s. And I understand that it only gets hotter from there over the next several months. So we will see here. But we're finally moved in, Tyler. We're there.
Nice feeling. That is a nice feeling.
Now I get to explore Las Vegas, see what's going on around here. I hear there's stuff to do. I don't know.
Allegedly.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
There's only 5 restaurants in the whole city, though, which is really weird. I would think there'd be more. It's kind of tough. Anyway, enough of the silliness. Before we get right on into the news, let's have a word from our sponsor.
Are you struggling to get your team trained in using Zoho effectively? Considering the hefty costs of team meetings and onboarding sessions dedicated to Zoho training, there has to be an easier way. Say hello to efficiency with our Zoho team training courses. Zoho CRM made easy. Become a project management pro, top-tier customer support, and maximize your marketing impact. Are you ready to equip your team? Start today at zenatta.com/training and let us lead the way.
All right. Well, we start off our news week with Zoho Sprints Q1 updates. So Zoho 2.0 was released. Zoho Sprints 2.0 was released here a little while ago, and they've just added some quick updates to it. If you're unfamiliar, Zoho Sprints is their agile development project management tool. And so we've got a few nice updates here. You can manage your projects better in the new enhanced Sprints 2.0. You can create extensions or plugins, get live updates on your sprint board, scroll through item detail page from tab to tab. Basically just a bunch of ease of use things that were kind of put in here that'll make it a little easier, especially from a dashboard, notifications, those kind of things that were just added into Sprints 2.0. My guess is to kind of keep up with Jira, which is their main competitor in this space. And there you go, Tyler. That's
I think the big one here that people end up using is just the ability to build out your own extensions now within Sprints. So if you have like another platform that you use in tandem, right, being able to embed or integrate that more tightly into your Sprints workflow is going to be nice. And I would imagine now that that's supported via Sigma, we'll see some more marketplace applications come for Sprints too, right? That does make it a lot easier and faster to get one of those deployed. So nice update there. A lot of the others are kind of quick little, UI feedback changes, better scroll here and there, kind of some changes to the look and feel of the boards module. Nothing too crazy though. I think really the most important one here is just that ability to create extensions, basically just making it so that if you are development savvy, you can get Sprints to have some extended functionality by just adding an extension to it.
All right. And then the title of the show here, Zoho Analytics has got some new features that were rolled out for April. And one of them is a region-wise sales by purchase type. It's a sunburst chart is what it is. It's one of these charts that I look at and I go, what does it mean? What does it mean? These are you hate pie charts, right? We've had this discussion.
I'm very anti pie, and this is kind of like a pie within a pie. So this is really just a type of chart that you use for like multi-category breakdowns. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see there are like 3 categories. Each concentric ring would be like a level of slicing to the data. Personal opinion, I think these get really busy when you use them in this way. Like, I'm sure there's like a data set, a use case for these that people like, and that's why they've added it. I just don't have a lot of them myself. Another one that is nice, though, is the conversion bar chart. We'll have to see exactly how we're going to set these up, just because like if you're looking at a deal, you can see here they've structured it for deal stages. I would imagine here you're using the stage history, not the current stage, just because the CRM doesn't really track the previous status in any other way. So you're going to have some kind of like stage over time data, which should be able to just come from that stage history. But like, this is an extremely practical report, right? Like, people definitely want to be able to create this kind of showing, hey, from a total, how many at each step move to that next step. I mean, that's like core CRM tracking. So nice
I'd
to
like
see
to
this
see
one.
I'd like to see this native to CRM without people having to use analytics for it too. I think this would
And
be
they have some ability to do this natively. It's a little clunky. Yeah, they've got some funnels. They have some conversion tracking, but it's really confusing to set up for a lot of people. It's a really weird UI when you build some of their like funnel metrics. But again, I'm a big analytics guy, so I always love to be able to create these here.
All righty. You now have an auto suggestion on report creation. So it's going to say, here's maybe potentially the chart you might want to use, So you can take their suggestions or you can ignore them, but they're going to make suggestions for you. Top, bottom, N with filters. What do we got here?
So this is really just the ability to create like a ranking with your own number. So when you have that N, it just means some number. So top 10, top 5. And these are just going to apply via the filters that you can put on various reports and dashboards. Always nice to have more filter options just to let you see exactly what you want. Looks like they've also added a new data source, Elasticsearch. I have never heard of that. Not exactly sure even what Elasticsearch is used for. Oftentimes, I think these are just in a list, right, of customer requests for various integrations, and they start at the top and add a couple here and there. Yep. Another one that is nice is an inline embed for a dashboard. So this is like if the case they're using here, basically just like you could iframe a YouTube video into a dashboard, or really more practically like embed other things into a dashboard dynamically just using an iframe. That's pretty slick. The idea of maybe even putting like a form on a dashboard that you can submit if you notice something weird about the data that you want to report. Right, all those types of use cases of just extending dashboard functionality should be really cool.
I think like we did this in our reports, like on the developer metrics report, you just have a picture of Greg just scowling, just a scowl.
Love that idea.
And
then
let's
get that to the top of the priority list.
It's motivating. You want people to be motivated through fear. That's I think that would be a good idea anyway. Put that in there as well. Then you got a new set of APIs. These are 2.40, not to be confused with 2.3.
2.40. So they've been on 2 for a while. Really, the new ones here. User management is always going to be nice to see. Especially where that comes into play is just if potentially you're not on Zoho 1. If you're on Zoho 1, you're probably using a user designation, and people can be added automatically, right? Just as you're adding them to one. But maybe you've got a creator app and an analytics app, right? And you want to just be able to tie those two together. Couple little like back-end structuring things via APIs. So like folder organization and hierarchy. I don't know when I would do that via API, but sure, can't hurt. And then being able to export metadata as a template. Again, useful for like integration activities, right? Where you might need to access that data and use it somewhere else.
Yeah. And C# SDK moves to .NET 6.0. It's a lot of Microsoft words there. So they're upgrading their C# SDK from the .NET Framework 4.5 to the .NET 6.0. That is for a very limited group, but I imagine that they were probably a little bit behind on this anyway, yeah?
Yeah.
So, all right. And moving right along with our updates and our news, kind of a nice one if you are, WeChat. We talk about this all the time. You have got, various chats and communication platforms that are used all over the world, right? And depending on what country you're in, people are usually using their own little chat bot. WeChat is huge in China and Japan. And so if you're using SalesIQ, and Zoho's been good about this, kind of integrating across these various chat platforms. So now in SalesIQ, you actually converse directly with your people through WeChat. SalesIQ is a Swiss Army knife of things, but one of the things it does is it also puts a chat bot on your website. And so this would just be another way to communicate with your customers. So very nice.
Yeah. Obviously in the US, WeChat not exactly the most popular chat tool, but around the world, that is not the case. So really used to be able to tie this in. The way it works, essentially, when someone chats, they can leave a way to get in touch with them. Now WeChat will be supported through that, and you'll be able to follow up via that channel. So really nice. Especially when you think about like the SalesIQ to Desk integration, right? And being able to just manage so much of your communication via the omni-channel approach, right? Regardless of how people want you to get in touch, you'll be able to do just that.
Yeah, WhatsApp is another big one that's used in most of Latin America, kind of across the board from Mexico all the way on down. WhatsApp's a big one. That's already been integrated into SalesIQ. I kind of wish we'd adopt WhatsApp in the US. It'd be nice, man, just to have one platform. I'm so tired of my Android people and their green bubbles, and I can't add them into group chats. So that would solve all of that. So anyway, that is... if you're a WeChat company that has people using WeChat, there you go. You got that covered. And moving on here. So you've got some new updates to Zoho Expense. These are very pinpoint. So you can get real-time feeds for your credit card transactions in the US edition only with Visa card network only. So and there's something stranger I want to tell you about. So basically, you can tie in your company's cards, your employee cards. Those get pulled in. They get matched to their expenses. New charges will create new expenses that need to be approved if they're used on that card. Very cool, making it very easy. Zoho Expense MyBiz integration. So in India, MyBiz is a big deal. And you can, if you're over there, you now have full integration over there. Zoho Expense now has Air Plus integration. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a type of credit card, Air Plus, because it seems to be that way.
Looks like a type of corporate card. If you scroll down a little bit, it's now just a supported option for their direct integration.
The weird thing about this is up above, they say they only support the Visa network, but on this image we're looking at, we've got American Express, MasterCard, Visa, a very specific ones, HSBC banks. So interesting. Maybe those have already been supported and they just added Visa.
Could be the instant sync versus like a scheduled sync as well. Like I think the big thing with that Visa update is that it's immediate, right? It comes in like the moment that the card is run. So it could just be a timing difference with some of the new options.
And I guess they're supporting the actual direct connections to the card, which is... Anyway, it's just interesting to see them all added. I'm surprised this isn't all being done through like a Plaid or
some type of unified backend tool. Yeah,
Yodel, Plaid. Yeah, but this seems like individually supporting each one of these various card processors. And you've got some changes to some basically notification preferences and Android updates, iOS updates, but Zoho Expense chugging along. So if you're an expense user, this should make your life a little bit easier. And lastly, Tyler, as we round up a relatively, we always mark our stories. Are they notable? Are they major? Are there big things happening? Nothing this week. They're just kind of all little updates, but nice to have anyway. This is probably the smallest of this, more of a little PSA, but you now have early access for GraphQL APIs in all in Enterprise, Zoho 1, and CRM Plus editions of the CRM. This used to only be available in the Ultimate edition of Zoho CRM, but now they're making it available down into the Enterprise edition as well. We were talking before the show, and you said, okay, this is great, very neat use case, but most of the time, COQL seems to be maybe a better way to go when you try to do it.
GraphQL is a great way to request data as well as metadata from API enabled database. I think the challenge, and we haven't spent a ton of time playing with it within Zoho, but from hearing some of the other partners kind of talk about their experiences playing with it, is just the structure that you have to use for how Zoho has implemented GraphQL is pretty inconvenient. It's like a lot of manual specification before you make a request. And so I would imagine they're going to continue tweaking and adjusting that. It is in early access, right? So I think that's the point, right? Let's stand up a basic version, get a bunch of feedback and adjust it. So for now, I would expect people are going to keep using the traditional API or potentially use like COQL calls to get more data at once. But as they continue to improve these, they'll be very useful. One of the big things is it's just another universal language someone can use to make a request, right? So maybe you're a SaaS company, you're used to working with GraphQL, you can use it for integrating with Zoho without any issue.
Fantastic. And that's going to wrap up the news. So let's get right on into the implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so implementation this week coming from George and Andrew on the Zenatta team. This is a DHL shipment integration for Zoho CRM. So in this particular implementation, the client was not using Zoho Inventory. They're using the CRM transaction module, so quotes, sales orders, invoices, to essentially manage their sales process. And once an invoice is paid, client ships out the product primarily through DHL. What we wanted to do here was set up an integration so that the invoice would be synced with the DHL shipment status, primarily because when that customer needs to call for a shipment update, they're going to call the salesperson. As much as we may want to guide them to call the operations team or customer service, it's oftentimes going to come back to whoever sold it. So we wanted to make this information easily available so that when the salesperson gets that call, they can open up the invoice and know where we're at in the process, right? It's been packaged, it's been picked up, it's en route, and it's been delivered. So first thing that we did is we built out a process for them where as they are shipping out items, they can easily enter in the tracking number to that invoice. Then all we had to do was set up a function that basically will regularly check the DHL servers via API for each of the tracking numbers that have not been delivered yet. And we'll update that status back to the CRM just to make it easy for the team to always know what's going on with a particular shipment, regardless of where they are, right? Because a salesperson does not spend a lot of time in the DHL portal, right? And so they don't really have a lot of access to this information unless we bring it in and sync it into the CRM for them and display it on those invoices. So should be a pretty useful one for them, save a little bit of time. One of those things that just saves from having to like message somebody, right? Salesperson gets a call, they jump on the chat tool, message the shipping team, hey, where are we at on this, right? That's a lot of back and forth that doesn't need to happen, especially when you want to get someone an answer while you're on the phone with them, right? Rather than like, hey, let me message my team and put you on hold and I'll check that for you. Now it's just like, what's your order number? Here it is. Okay, they just picked it up, should be there in 5 days. So just an ease of life or quality of life improvement here for them that saves a little bit of back and forth discussion.
Very, very cool. It's, this is extremely useful. As you say, salespeople can look in there and see. I mean, we do this all the time with people who have QuickBooks and, salespeople are not going to have access to QuickBooks, but did their client pay the invoice? What's the status of an invoice? You can pull that data directly into CRM and makes life easy. So very, very cool. All right, with that, let's head over to Club Zenatta and check out our code share of the week. Here, Andrew is solving one of the big pain in the butts in the history of, pretty much everything. It's not just a Zoho thing, but date formats are just always something, especially when we're doing a migration. Everybody has their date formats different, and you have to get them to match up with whatever platform you're going into. And so this is a nice little bit of code that's going to go ahead and take all your dates and convert them into a usable format that you can do. So I would think this will be a very popular code share, Tyler.
I would think so, yeah. And Zoho is very particular with dates, and even some of their applications store them differently. So you might have to make a couple adjustments to this based on which app you're importing to. In this case, we're looking at a date time that would go into CRM. I'll tell you, like desk is a little different. Like they put a Z at the end for some reason. All the way at the right of the date time, there's just a Z. So you have to turn it back into a string and then concatenate the Z. So a couple little things you might need to do depending on the application, but pretty universally useful just as a guide here for how to convert something from a weird format. Like here we see we kind of have this funky like text format of the date. So essentially what we're doing there is he's doing that to date time, which just converts it, and we tell it exactly what the format is so that it knows how to convert it. Then from there, you can format it appropriately for whichever application you need to insert the data into.
Yeah. And this is not just a Zoho thing. Every platform has their own unique formatting. And so anyway, very, very helpful. And you may have noticed we didn't do any of our announcements and events. We kind of we're just going to talk about it here while we're in Club Z now. So as always, if you don't know, Club Z is our online community, and we would love for you to come over and visit it. In here, we pretty much keep everything. You can, we've got all of our code shares. We have got all of our Zoho news that we talk about, plus other news that we don't talk about. We kind of put this in here in real time. You can ask questions that Greg will answer on Ask Zenatta anything about Zoho, Azaz, on our question of the week. You can make requests for videos. It's all here. We also keep our events here. Coming up this month, we've got potentially data prep, but we may change that. So stay tuned. We might push that back a month. And then we've got Zoho Sites 2.0 full product overview coming up in June. Zoho did add a few new events this week as well. I can't remember exactly what they were, but if you click on the Zoho tab, you can look at all of the various events that Zoho has. The big one I would say coming up in June is we have Zoholics in Austin, Texas. We hope to see you there. We will be there. We will have a booth. We're in booth 211. Stop by and say hello. We'll also be hosting a hospitality suite across the way, but you'll need to stop by and get your golden ticket if you want to join us over there. So we hope to see everybody at Zoholics in Austin, Texas on June 5th. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta and see what we got going on over there. Well, gosh, Tyler, I feel like I was just talking about, Zoholics Austin 2024. So,
what a coincidence.
Anyway, if you are going, here's a little guide to check everything out that is going on over at Zoholics. Everything you need to know, how to get going here, and very, very clever. The marketing team has put in something for Cork and Journey, which happens to be a property that I might have something to do with, that lets you look up corkage fees. So as they say, if you're going to a restaurant over in Austin, you might want to know what the corkage fee is, and you can check that out over at Cork and Journey. You can manage your schedule with the event scheduler. A lot of workshops. I mean, that's the big thing. If you're an end user going to Zoholics, there's going to be a pretty much guaranteed a workshop for whatever you're interested in.
Lots of product managers too. People that really have all-encompassing knowledge of a product on the Zoho side will be there to answer questions, take some feedback. So good way to interface directly with, Zoho team members.
Yep. Very, very, very cool. So we hope to see you at Zoholics. If you haven't registered yet, please, get over there, register, and we'll see you in Austin, Texas. And let's check out our tip of the week. All right, Tyler, you have decided to tackle the task management in Zoho CRM. There's a lot that goes on with task management. So it's, it can be fairly simple, but I think for some people, they look at it and they're just like, there are a lot of different ways to create tasks, and then how do you complete them and how do you do it? So it's kind of a little 17-minute guide on managing tasks in CRM.
Yeah, and so it was actually funny. I was talking to a prospect and went through a couple different things that they want to use CRM for, some lead management, deal flow, reporting, etc. And after the call, he had sent me a list of, hey, could you just shoot over some videos on these topics? And one of them was just task management in CRM. And I realized, like, other than kind of mentioning it in a webinar here and there, or maybe some really old videos, we hadn't done just like kind of a baseline walkthrough of tasks, how to make them manually, how they work by, automatic creation and workflows, how to put them in list views and, Kanbans, given that the CRM Kanban is a little limited for tasks. So I thought that I would just kind of make a video walking through that. If you've been using CRM for a long time, you might know some of this already. But there are a lot of people that are newer to Zoho CRM and have not really interacted with this much. So I thought I would put together a video so that we would just have this topic covered. It's kind of a funny one because, each of the other topics I had like 3 or 4 videos to send over. And this one, it was a ghost town. So I thought it would be a good good reason to get something up and recorded for everybody in case they need this information.
Excellent. Very nice video. So if you have always struggled with maybe managing your tasks in CRM, take a look at this. This might be helpful. After going through this, I haven't looked at this in a while. Do you feel like we're close to standard Kanban boards inside of for task management in CRM yet?
No, it's just how it's always been. You've got them organized by the module that they're a part of. Now, you technically can go and install the Kanban board plugin from the marketplace.
Which is
old. There you do have the flexibility to put the tasks in the proper Kanban view based on status. But yeah, that is an old plugin. I don't know if it's been updated anytime in recent memory. So buyer beware that it might be a little funky. But yeah, a lot of the times though, what I kind of recommend is really work the tasks based on lists, based on due dates and priorities and things like that as a baseline. As a way of kind of avoiding the CRM task view Kanbans.
Fantastic. And with that, let's get to our question of the week. We oftentimes, people say, will you make a video about this? And so our question of the week was really more like, would you please make a video? Because it was, do you have any videos on how to create a custom related list? And so we don't. So Greg has gone ahead and given you a step-by-step guide on how to create a custom related list and how to put that whole thing together. So everything you need here, the code, everything, it is all here laid out for you. So if you're looking at
you do have to use some XML for this. I do not like using XML, but Greg does walk it through, super straightforward to just kind of follow along. Really, the great thing about these XML related lists is that you can show data without having to sync data, which is a big advantage, right? If you're ever trying to sync one list between 2 modules just to get some type of view of that module, it's going to be painful. Like a big one for people is, you've got a list of contacts and some of them are no longer with the company, right? Or they're retired, and you want to have a sub list of active contacts. And so people think, okay, well, when I mark them as retired, we'll delete that contact and we'll move it to this other module called, expired contacts or what it may be. It's like, no, don't do that. Just make a custom list, search the existing contacts database, and show the ones that are active, right? With a link to each record. There's just a lot of things that you can do much easier if you can get over the hump of having to use XML to do the formatting.
Yeah. Very cool. And if you are not familiar, if you're listening to our show and not watching it on YouTube, then head over to YouTube. YouTube.com/Zenatta. That is where we keep all of our video content. We have 654 videos right now over here, all of them about Zoho, tips, tricks, our show, Azaz, you name it, it's here. So head over to youtube.com/Zenatta and check out our content. We drop something almost every single day. So we hope you like it. Please subscribe. And, speaking of subscribe, looks like next week another angel's going to get his wings. We should hit 17,000 next week. Fantastic. And with that, Tyler, I guess that brings yet another CRM Zen Show to a close.
Yeah, thank you everyone for checking in. Hopefully, as always, the video is useful for you. We did make that change. Let us know what you think. We're kind of doing the announcements events later. We realized a lot of the times it's kind of the same announcement that we talked about the last week, so you kind of get the same update about an upcoming webinar a few weeks in a row. So we thought, hey, let's put this at the back end and jump into the news a little quicker. So make sure to let us know in the comments below what you think of the change. We think it's better. So interested to hear your guys' input as well.
Only 99 more episodes to episode 400 now, after this one's in the bag. So what'd you do with your toga?
It's in my closet right now. I'm saving it for a future Halloween.
I've been wearing it around the house, man.
Yeah, it is comfortable.
I've just been wearing that thing. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would ever like to get in touch with us, please head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. We would love to talk to you about how we can help you with your Zoho installation.
And on the website is where you'll also find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you'd like to get that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
I don't know, where do you put George Harrison? Would you say, was he the third Beatle? Is he the fourth? Is Ringo? Do you put Ringo above
strong
George?
Beatles opinions. I don't have a strong opinion on him.
No.
Other than I did love Ringo Starr starring in Caveman, that classic movie. That's one of my favorites. So maybe he does get some extra points for that.